We have some psychiatric disorders to talk about, 4 of them, as a matter of fact, common in to workaholics, according to the latest study.
I would figure addiction is one of them, but I'm curious to find out the others.
Well, Fox News contributor, workplace expert Michael Ray Newman on the line with us, talking about it. What does this study mean? Are you a workaholic? You might be more likely to suffer from OCD, the anxiety, depression, that sort of thing. Said among the more than 16,000 working adults who participated in a Norwegian study, workers considered workaholics showed symptoms of 4 psychiatric disorders. The study was also co-authored by researchers from the Nottingham Trent University and Yale. And they say a little better, almost 33% of those considered workaholics showed signs of attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, that's ADHD, versus the 13% among adults who are not considered workaholics. So should bosses steer clear of hiring workaholics? Well, how do you know that until you hire somebody? What are you supposed to be? What do you do? Consult Kreskin? And and if you carry the biggest load of in the office, are you also carrying the most baggage? And should companies require employees to use all their vacation time and unplug to avoid burnout and mental health issues? So Fox contributor, workplace expert Michael Ray Newman is on the line with us live and in person. Michael, what's the scoop here? 4 psychiatric disorders that are common among workaholics. Is that right?
That's what we're seeing. Yes, sir. It was a pretty big, sampling too. It was over 16,000 people that they did this to. So we're finding a lot of this, a lot of these tendencies in the workplace.
Is this is this a bad thing that people are workaholics?
Well, it depends on how you handle it, that's for sure. I mean, what we're seeing with the influx of customers coming back in and businesses thriving again and the lack of employees, these kind of employees have had more pressure put on them to get the job done. And we're seeing more and more of this.
We're talking with Michael Ray Newman, Fox News contributor, workplace expert, about 4 psychiatric disorders that are common among workaholics, according to this study. Now, the study basically was done in Norway, right? How does that translate to America?
Well, some of the people that they actually surveyed were Americans, a big sampling of them, actually. And it was a Gallup poll that came out last year, and it said 7 out of 10 employees are disengaged in the workplace. So if you'll think about a 10-seater bicycle, and there's 3 guys at the front that are pedaling like crazy, and then you have 7 other people that are just coasting. And actually you have two employees that are disengaged out of that 10. They say they're actually hitting the brakes. That's a big problem.
Yeah, that's Congress, Michael, I think you're describing there.
I know. Oh, I'm sorry. Sometimes I get confused.
Well, what does this mean? And I'm sure this affects marriages and everything else, and family relations. That there's the old saying that nobody on their deathbed ever said, "I wish I'd spent more time at the office."
Man, you nailed it. That's right. What they say, some experts are saying we should make them take their vacation, take time off. That's the worst thing you can do for an alcoholic. A workaholic.
Yeah.
Which may be one of those 4 tendencies. But the workaholic, what you want to do is their balance, and that we have a wheel of life that Mr. Ziglar had and talked about: faith, family, friends, financial, physically, and we refocus their energy and that energy into different areas of their life. And let them realize now, balance doesn't come in a 24-hour day. You don't work 9 hours and then you have lunch with dinner with the family and then sleep 8 hours. Balance comes in seasons now. And when we get them to realize that and we refocus that energy in different areas of their life, we've found that we've got a much more engaged employee, and you also have a happier person at home as well.
Michael Ray Newman with us this morning, Fox News contributor, workplace expert. So I love this question here, Michael, because how do you know, should bosses steer clear of hiring workaholics? Now, how do you know until you hire them? Do you get Kreskin on the line with you on a conference call?
You stole my line there, brother. Which came first, the chicken or the egg, right?
Yeah, right.
Because what you find is you're hiring a motivated person who's highly motivated. You can't recognize those tendencies, but what happens if you do put too much on them and have them work, when you find out they are the workhorse, and if you keep putting on them, they eventually get burned out, and those disorders may bubble to the top, and so you have a disengaged employee now all of a sudden that used to be a workaholic, and they're just dealing with their disorders.
Wow. So the word to bosses is don't just because somebody's a great worker doesn't mean that you should give them more to do.
Right. Take the time to find out about them, make sure that they're happy, make sure that they're healthy, and how their family feels, and reach out and connect to what their dreams are and what they want to accomplish in their life. And then when you can connect what they do to what they want personally, you'll have a really engaged employee.
And Michael, as far as if you carry the biggest load in the office, are you also carrying the most baggage?
That's what a lot of them feel like they are. You can be carrying a lot of that baggage. That's why it's so important to be, as a manager and as a leader and as an owner of companies, to be engaged with those top performers. A lot of times we won't pay attention because they're doing well. But the wheel's not squeaking, because the problem kids that aren't producing is when we focus on it. It's really important to focus on those guys that are doing the work for you as well.
Mm-hmm. What can bosses do to be better as far as focused on who is doing the work and maybe who is not? Living off the fat of the land, as it were.
Yeah, and right now that's a big piece that we're training on. And we're doing a lot of group executive coaching and some one-on-one consulting with some of these CEOs to teach them how to not just take the time on planned time, but randomly stop in the hallway to catch up with one of your top performers at the water cooler, to ask them how their family is, to remember that they had their mother was in the hospital, and to really talk about them personally and try to connect with them on a more personal level. That really engages the employee with the company and the CEO or manager.
Fox News contributor, workplace expert Michael Ray Newman. Michael, where do we go for more information?
Hit us up at ZigZiglarInternational.com.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yep. I am at on Twitter at WIT Newman, Newman. We can help you either way. Just call us if you need us.
All right. Appreciate it, Michael. Take care.
Appreciate you.
All right, sir. Yeah. Michael Ray Newman, Fox News contributor, workplace expert.